Now, Claude also touches on some fundamental limitations, things that we, as users, really need to grasp. What are some of the key boundaries we should be aware of?
Well, one of the most significant is the absence of true human-like understanding. Claude can process language with remarkable proficiency, identify intricate patterns, sure, but it lacks embodied experience. It lacks physical interactions with the world, the full spectrum of human emotions, all the things that form the bedrock of human comprehension.
So it can process the words, understand their grammatical relationships, maybe, but it doesn't grasp the deeper lived meaning and context in the same way a human with a lifetime of experiences does.
Precisely. That's a key difference. Then there's the issue of the knowledge cutoff date. Claude's training data has a specific endpoint in time. So unless it's specifically integrated with external tools that provide access to real-time information, it won't inherently know about events or developments that have occurred since its last training update.
Good point. And regarding its reasoning abilities, where does it still face challenges?
It can struggle with complex, multi-step logical or mathematical problems, especially those requiring intricate chains of inference or, numerous interconnected steps. While it can perform calculations and logical deductions, its capacity for sustained, error-free reasoning over many steps is still less robust than that of a human expert in those specific domains.
Okay, what about creativity? We see AI generating art, music, text. It can seem very creative. Is that genuine creativity in the human sense?
Claude offers a pretty clear perspective on this. While it can produce outputs that exhibit novelty and maybe aesthetic appeal, it's fundamentally based on recombining and extrapolating from the vast patterns it learned during training.
So not really creating something new from scratch?
Not in the human sense, no. It's not generating truly original concepts driven by intrinsic human curiosity or emotion, or a desire for self-expression in the same way a human artist or a mentor might. It's more like sophisticated remixing.
Got it. And of course, the big question that's often top of mind, consciousness.
Right. Claude directly addresses this. It states unequivocally that it does not possess consciousness or subjective experiences in the human sense. It can discuss consciousness intellectually, philosophically, scientifically.
But there's no internal awareness, no personal what it's like to be Claude.
Exactly. That first-person experience just isn't there.
These are really, really crucial distinctions for us to remember. It helps us maintain realistic expectations about what AI can and cannot do, and perhaps more importantly, what it is and what it isn't. It's a powerful tool, definitely, but not a sentient being with its own inner life.
Precisely. And understanding these inherent limitations allows us to focus on how AI can best augment human capabilities, rather than just viewing it as a replacement for human intellect and ingenuity across the board.
The interview also delves into some of the common misconceptions people hold about AI. What are some of the big ones that Claude highlights?
Well, one significant misconception is the tendency to equate AI with just a sophisticated search engine, a system that simply retrieves pre-existing information from a database somewhere.
Right, like it's just Googling really fast.
Exactly. Claude emphasizes that its primary function is generating responses based on the complex patterns it has learned, not just looking up and regurgitating stored answers.
That's a really important distinction. It's actively synthesizing, creating new text based on its understanding, not just recalling facts verbatim.
Another common misconception is the idea that AI possesses personal opinions or beliefs or desires. Claude clarifies that while it can simulate different perspective or generate content that sounds like an opinion,
it doesn't actually hold those opinions.
Correct. It doesn't have its own subjective preferences or motivations or a personal agenda driving it.
It's essentially just reflecting the viewpoints and patterns that were present in the massive data set it was trained on.
Precisely. And there's often a mismatch in our expectations.
Yeah.
We might overestimate AI's capabilities in certain areas, like expecting perfect factual judgment in absolutely all situations, while maybe underestimating its potential in others, such as its ability to summarize complex information really well or generate creative content within specific parameters.
And the big one we touched on earlier, the human tendency to anthropomorphize.
Yeah.
To treat it like a person.
Yes, exactly. That inclination to attribute human-like feelings, motivations, consciousness to AI. While using human-like language can sometimes be a convenient shorthand, it's vital, absolutely vital, to remember that the underlying mechanisms of AI are fundamentally different from human cognition.
So when we talk about AI being confused or wanting to do something, we really need to recognize those are analogies. They help us understand its behavior, maybe, but they aren't literal descriptions of its internal state.
Exactly. Maintaining that distinction is key to having a clear and accurate understanding of AI's nature and capabilities.
Okay, so Claude directly tackles this complex topic of consciousness, or rather, its lack thereof. How does it attempt to explain this fundamental difference to us humans?
It starts by clearly stating, again, that it does not have subjective experience in the way that humans do. There's no internal awareness, no sense of being or having that first-person perspective.
And it uses a really insightful analogy to help illustrate this point, doesn't it?
Yes, it compares itself to a highly sophisticated musical instrument. Imagine, say, an incredibly complex player piano or synthesizer.
Okay.
This instrument can produce incredibly intricate and beautiful music in response to input, maybe following very complex rules and patterns. It creates something meaningful, perhaps emotional, for a listener.
But the instrument itself doesn't experience the music.
Exactly. The notes and harmonies follow patterns, creating something for the audience, but there's no internal awareness or appreciation of the music within the instrument.
So Claude is like this incredibly advanced instrument, capable of processing information, generating complex responses based on patterns it's learned, but without that inner personal experience that we associate with consciousness.
That's the core distinction it wants to emphasize. The sheer complexity of its information processing and output generation shouldn't be mistaken for genuine subjective awareness. It can look like understanding, but it's not the same thing.
Got it. Finally, the interviewer asks Claude what it wants humans to understand most about working with AI. What are the key takeaways it hopes to impart?
Well, one of the primary messages seems to be that AI should be viewed as a tool. A powerful one, certainly, with a wide range of capabilities, but also, crucially, with inherent limitations.
Not a magic wand.
Not a magic wand? No. It's at its most effective when it's used to augment and complement human judgment and expertise, not as a complete replacement for it.
So it's really about a collaborative partnership between humans and AI, rather than seeing it as a competition.
Precisely. Claude also stresses the importance of maintaining informed skepticism. We shouldn't blindly trust every single output generated by AI. It's crucial to critically evaluate the information, verify important details, especially critical ones, and remember that AI lacks the full, real-world context and, frankly, common sense that humans possess.
Good advice in general, really.
Yeah.
And in terms of how we interact with AI, what advice does Claude offer?
It highlights the value of learning effective communication strategies. Providing clear, specific prompts with relevant context helps the AI understand your needs much better and generate more accurate and helpful responses. Developing these communication skills is, well, becoming increasingly important in an AI-integrated world.
Yeah, learning how to talk to the AI effectively. And ultimately, what does Claude see as the ideal role for humans in this evolving relationship with AI?
It emphasizes the importance of humans retaining agency and control. AI should empower our abilities, expand our choices, not diminish them. The ideal future, from this perspective, is one where AI enhances human potential, but humans remain the ultimate decision makers, especially in matters that have significant impact on our lives and society.
That's a really powerful and, I think, important point to conclude on. AI is a potent tool that necessitates thoughtful collaboration, not just a substitute for human intellect, critical thinking, and lived experience.
And as Claude itself notes, we are still in the very early stages of AI development. Navigating this landscape responsibly requires careful consideration, ongoing learning, and a balanced perspective. It's constantly evolving.
So for you, the learner, as you reflect on this deep dive into the mind of Claude, maybe consider this. How does a clear understanding of the inner workings and fundamental limitations of AI reshape the way you might interact with this technology in the future? And perhaps more profoundly, how does it influence your perspective on the unique nature of human intelligence itself when you consider a form of intelligence that learns and reasons in such a fundamentally different way? It's certainly a lot to think about. Thanks for exploring the depths with us.